Yeah! Welcome to Tighter in 30 Days, the gluten, sugar, and dairy-free challenge. I am so excited about this. I know that I have been talking about this since January, which, by the way, I'm assuming if you're watching this, you probably know me, get my emails, or follow the Facebook page. But just in case you randomly stumbled upon this, my name is Liz DiAlto over from lizdialto.com. I've created a product called Tighter in 10 Days, and in the month of January, I decided to go on a gluten, sugar, and dairy-free diet for a number of reasons that I'll get into a little later on, but typically I specialize in teaching really busy women how to make health and fitness an efficient and effective part of their life, fit it into their schedule, so they don't have to be counting calories, obsessing over everything they eat, or working out for several hours a day. So that's my mission, to teach women how to get in shape around all the other crazy things they have going on in their lives. For this challenge, though, I'm opening this up to the gentlemen as well, because this is not just female specific. This is something that can really benefit anybody. So that's just a little bit about me. And I'm going to, again, like I said, get into why I'm so pumped to share this with you. I know some of you have been commenting on the Facebook page, asking me about this. I've been getting emails, like almost daily emails and Facebook messages from people. When is this program going to be out? So I'm really excited to finally be getting this information to you. So here's the agenda for today. I'm going to talk about why I decided to do this myself, and also why I created the 30-day challenge. I'm going to get more specifically into what gluten, sugar, and dairy-free actually mean, because I know over the course of my 30 days in January, I was getting tons and tons of questions on the Facebook page, and then I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did. So by the end of this little workshop here, you're going to have a much clearer understanding of how to do a gluten, sugar, and dairy-free diet for 30 days. And I've also put together some program options in case you are not the type of person that wants to wing it and you want some actual help from my experience that I could put you on the program. So check this out. I want to start out by letting you know this shit works, baby. And like all of my programs, I wanted to test it on myself before presenting it as something for you to do. And I decided to do this for a lot of reasons, and I'll talk more about it later, but for now I'll just tell you that over the course of the fall, I was actually really tired. And I know my version of tired is probably other people's, energy bursting through the roof. But I was a lot more tired and sluggish than I usually am. I wasn't working out as much. And, I also met some really cool people this fall, a couple of whom had done diets like this and gotten some amazing results. So I was totally inspired by those people. And I was also just being a little lackadaisical about my own program. Like if you look at me here on the left, you could definitely tell the difference between day 1 and actually this is not day 30 on the right. It's day number 28 is when I took this picture. But you can tell in my abs, you can see the difference. My arm, my thighs are leaner. And I didn't just do this for the look. I also did it to, get some energy back and to, kind of test myself. I wanted to deal with some cravings. I noticed that when I'm working a lot and I'm really busy, I don't stick to my healthy eating habits as well as I should. So it was really to just overall kick my lifestyle into a cleaner gear that's a lot more conducive to what I teach to you all the time. And I'll tell you later how I felt before, during, and after, and how the month went, because what was cool about this, and the whole reason I created this program, is because as I was talking about my experience, I noticed how interested all of you really were and how many questions you had. And some of you already took it upon yourselves to start eliminating gluten, sugar, and dairy from your diets and are getting some pretty cool results. I get messages all the time. Here's just 2. Just started this along with my gym regime and incorporating the gluten, dairy, and etc. free eating habits, which I started pretty much mid-January. So between Liz and my trainer, I'll Prevail, FYI, lost 11 pounds so far. So we have people down 11 pounds. I got this message, hey, so I'm on day 8 in this detox and I'm finally feeling awesome. not having gluten has been the hardest, but you've given me so much motivation that there's nothing that can stop me now. And I love getting messages like this because, again, that's why I do this stuff. I want you to be able to get better results and understand your bodies more and, live a healthy, awesome lifestyle that gives you the energy to do the things you want to do and also the confidence and the self-esteem to be really excited about how you look and feel walking around in your own body. So, let's get started with the information. I hope you have a pen and paper to take some notes. What does gluten, sugar, and dairy-free mean? I want to start out with gluten because that's probably the most complicated. And if you're anything like me, you probably never even heard of gluten before like a year or two ago when I noticed it really becoming this mainstream thing. You started hearing about people having gluten sensitivities or celiac disease, and there are obvious places where you find gluten. And I remember when I first looked this up, hearing that gluten was basically found in wheat, barley, and rye. But it gets a lot trickier than that, and it's in a lot of other hidden things, so it's not just bread, cereals, pasta, and anything with like white, wheat, flour, barley, or rye. It can be in a lot of different places as well. And there's also something to be concerned about like cross-contamination. So some things don't have gluten in them. For example, oats. Oats don't actually have gluten, even though they do have proteins similar to gluten, but because fairly often they're either transported or milled in factories with other products that have gluten, they could be cross-contaminated. And, depending on how sensitive you are to this, if you even are at all, that can either matter or maybe it doesn't. So for someone like me, I don't really have gluten sensitivities, so over the course of my 30 days, I continued to eat oats and oat bran, but it doesn't bother my stomach. It's not an actual health issue for me. But if it is for you, you'd want to stay away from stuff like that. So in the 30-day challenge, I go super in depth. I give you an extensive list of everything that you can pretty much eliminate if you're worried about gluten being in there. But just as an overview, gluten should really be avoiding any grains whatsoever to avoid the gluten itself and also the issue of cross-contamination. Next is, what does it mean to be sugar-free? I got a lot of questions about this. I'm mainly talking about fake sugars. And what do I mean by fake? I mean anything that's man-made, artificial sweeteners. This includes, some people said, well, what about honey? Well, honey is sugar. Raw or organic, agave, stevia, those things still count because they either are a sugar, they're derived from some sugar source, or, they're an artificial sweetener that produce the same kind of reaction in the body that sugar would anyway. So over the course of my 30 days, the only sugar that I actually did not eliminate was fruit sugars. So if you want to be really strict, you can totally eliminate fruit also, but personally, I did not do that. So I'm talking about all sugars and sugar-related or sugar perpetrating things like artificial sweeteners as well. Dairy-free. Okay, when it comes to dairy, some people get confused, so go by this definition: food from the milk of mammals. So some people hear milk and they assume dairy. So sometimes I get questions, well, what about almond milk? What about soy milk? No. Those are made from almonds. Those are made from soybeans, coconut milk, things like that. Even though they're called milk, they're not dairy. But anything that's made from milk or milk products like cheese and yogurt, those are all dairy. Eggs, although they're in the supermarket in the same aisle as the milk and the cheese and everything like that, they're not made from the milk of mammals, so eggs do not count. Now again, I'm just giving you the basic overview here. All the dirty details are covered in the challenge, but this should just make it a little more clear for you. Now, to give you an idea of what I did, I get a little fired up here. Like, you'll see this. Like, here's what I did, people. I ate real fucking food for 30 days because so many people overcomplicate things. And at the end of the day, the best way to eat is to ask yourself these two questions. Did this grow out of the earth, and did it come from an animal? Unless you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you can eat things that come from animals. That's real food. Unless I mean, obviously anyone can eat fruits and vegetables, things that grow out of the earth. That is real food. And real food means things that are not processed. Now, I do want to talk about processed foods because I mean, technically, if you grow a garden in your backyard, like say you grow tomatoes, say you pull a tomato off the vine, you bring it in your kitchen, you wash it and you cut it up, well, washing it and cutting up was technically processing the tomato, but obviously that's ridiculous. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about following rules of thumb like this, okay? Like you see here, lean cuisine. That's like super, super processed. And then there's things like quinoa, which might be processed a little bit, but the main ingredient is the actual thing, quinoa. If you looked on the back of this lean cuisine, there's tons of ingredients, many of which you can't even pronounce. So here are some rules of thumb I like to stick to in terms of setting apart the processed foods from the real foods. One of them is to shy away from food that comes with layers and layers of packing. So think about this. The more individually portioned, plastic wrapped, brightly colored a package is, the further the food is away from being a real food. Also look at the ingredients. In the 30-day challenge, like I said, I'm going to give you an extensive list of things to avoid, but in general, there should be fewer than 4 ingredients, and you should be able to pronounce every single one of them. So let's talk about the why. Why did I do this, and why should you do it? And one of the things is obviously energy. People go through, their days without actually even realizing how much energy they lack and how sluggish and lethargic they actually feel because they're just not used to having great amounts of energy. So if you're a busy mom or a busy dad, if you have a demanding job or if you have a lot of responsibilities, it's obviously going to be more to your benefit to have energy and to not be distracted by, getting tired, having that slump in the middle of the day. So energy was a really big deal. It's also cool to not have to rely on things like caffeine and coffee to get that energy boost in the middle of the day. Obviously, there's physique. Some people want to lose weight or want to shed fat, want to be in better shape. I know my clients who I've been training for a long time, we start thinking about the summer now. You have to understand, if you want to be in bikini shape, if you want to be able to wear sleeveless things and shorts and feel hot and good in your clothes this summer, it's the end of February right now. It's about to be March. Now is the time to start thinking about that while you have 2 and 3 months before that time comes. If you don't start thinking about this until May, you might be a little behind the boat. You might not actually get in the shape you want to be in till the middle or the end of the summer. So now is the time to be thinking about getting in shape for summer. And who knows, you might have things coming up before then, maybe events, maybe you're going on a trip or a vacation, you're getting married, whatever it is. But a healthier diet is more than 80% of the battle to a great physique. And I know lots of times I get questions from people saying, I exercise all the time and I'm not losing any weight. And part of that is most people are just not honing in on their diet. And the cleaner the diet you stick to, the better the results you're going to get. Then there's also the overall health advantages. Understand that gluten, one of the reasons why it's amazing to eliminate gluten from your diet is because it actually exacerbates diseases like IBS, Crohn's, and colitis. Basically what happens is gluten breaks down an important lining in your gut and your digestive tract. That's the first line of defense for your immune system to destroy bacteria, fungus, and other parasites. So when you're consuming tons of gluten, these natural things in your body that should be fighting off these bacteria and things like that are getting broken down, so they're not going to be as effective, and you're going to be more susceptible to these various diseases, as well as in general, gas, loose stools, constipation, acid reflux, stomach cramps, other really sexy things that people are typically not too excited to have going on. Also, sugar, if you Google, is sugar toxic? You're going to find an array of articles, but specifically one in the New York Times talking about a lot of the findings that are coming out. Not just we know that overconsumption of sugar can lead to obesity. It's like one of the leading causes of diabetes. And these things are, epidemics, if not pandemics, in the United States and some other places abroad. But, sugar also can be really problematic for a number of other systems in the body. So eliminating that, decreasing the amount of sugar makes a really big difference. So, other things, insulin sensitivity, insulin resistance, there's just so much crap that could be avoided by just cleaning up your diet. And then, there's dairy. The protein in dairy, the primary protein called casein, causes minor to severe allergies, can result in hives, stomach pains, bronchitis, bloating, even asthma, and a lot of sinus related issue, a lot of skin disorders. Mostly everyone knows someone who has some kind of skin disorder or has had years and years of allergies and sinus infections, and finally they either realized on their own through research or a doctor or nutritionist recommended giving up dairy, and then that stuff just goes away. It's unbelievable that people live with these conditions their whole life and never realize that it's dairy that's causing it. And something else to consider for dairy, all other species that produce milk, mothers feed their babies milk, right? Even humans, mothers breastfeed, but after a certain age, they stop doing that, right? So all other animal species, no other animal species other than humans continues to drink milk as adults, let alone the milk from another species. So it's no wonder that it actually can be so harmful because it's really not a natural thing to be consuming anyway. So getting back to the why, I want to talk about why you. I know the things that inspired me. I have a couple of friends who gave up sugar. I met a woman in the fall who gave up all kinds of things: gluten, sugar, dairy, caffeine, alcohol, and got some amazing results. She was having some chronic fatigue issues. All those things cleared up. Not that she needed to, but she lost a bunch of weight. She just looked and felt so much better. And like I keep saying, it's not just about the looks. It's not just about the need to lose weight. You might already be happy with your body physically, but you will feel so much better. And it's also, like it says here, an amazing opportunity to get to know yourself and to get to know your body. So many people have issues with food that they don't even realize. And some people do. Some people know they're emotional eaters or they're stress eaters. One of the things I noticed over the course of my 30 days is that I eat when I'm bored or when I want to procrastinate. So I was able to really deal with that and find better coping mechanisms. So not only am I not doing that at all or as much anymore, but I'm also a lot more productive because I'm able to identify when that's going on. And that awareness is really huge. And that's something I spend an entire chapter on in the program for the 30-day challenge. So mentally and emotionally, you're also going to be really proud of yourself and probably pleasantly surprised, because if you've tried diets in the past that were all about like restriction and based on willpower, those don't work. And I understand you're like, well, Liz, how is this not restrictive? I have to give up gluten, sugar, and dairy. But the fact of the matter is, this amazing quote by Maya Angelou, I love this, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude about it. So if you can't change the fact that gluten, dairy, and sugar are really shitty for you and are going to have all these negative impacts on your body, and you might really love those foods, change your attitude about it. Look for the vibrant health. One of my favorite things that happened during my 30-day challenge, I was getting together, had a girls' weekend with my two friends, Heather and Stella, and they were like, have you been going tanning? And that's one of the things that I always hate about the fall and the winter is being pale. And I was so excited that, my skin was looking like it had a better tone, like I'd actually been tanning when I totally hadn't been. I hadn't even been on a vacation. And that was because I was just taking much better care of myself with this gluten, sugar, and dairy-free lifestyle. So I'll also let you in on a little secret. I am not gifted with tons of willpower. So if I can do this, you can definitely do it. And the bottom line is, when you want something, you can and you will absolutely make it happen with the proper guidance. So that's the overview, okay? We talked about why. We talked about what more specifically gluten, sugar, and dairy-free even mean. And, I gave you an idea of what I did. I just stuck to real food for 30 days. And it was, absolutely amazing when you avoid all those freaking processed things. So I want to tell you about the program. Now, some of you might be able to take the information that I gave you here, run with it, and get some great results. But if you were looking forward to the challenge because you knew I was going to put it together and lay it out for you, there's actually 3 options for you. One is to participate in the challenge, which actually starts on March 5th. But I wanted to open this up and give you a chance to reserve your spot in the challenge sooner than that so you could access the information and really have like a week or 2 to prepare, and it wouldn't be like super tough to just rip a Band-Aid and have to do all of this at once. So I wanted to give you a little time to, obviously prepare yourself in terms of grocery shopping and looking through the document and getting recipes and stuff like that, but also like mentally and emotionally, because like I said earlier, people are really attached to their food and their eating habits, so it gives you a chance to kind of ease into it. So you can participate in the challenge. There's also an option for you to get some extra attention from me personally over the course of the next 30 days, because I know some of you are super self-sufficient, do-it-yourselfers. You can get the document, get all the information, and be able to do it, but some people might want a little more support than that and a little more interaction with me personally, so that's going to be an option. And I also noticed when I was going through my 30 days, people were asking on the Facebook page a lot of questions, not just about what I was eating, but my workout regimen as well. So the third option, in addition to getting the challenge, the extra attention from me, I will also put together customized workouts for you for the month also if you really want to maximize your results. So here's what you get in the 30-day challenge. You get a what to eat blueprint, and that's where, over this workshop just now, I gave you an overview, right? I didn't give you all the absolute nitty-gritty specific details because I didn't want this to go on forever and ever. So in the program, you get the exact what to eat blueprint, those extensive lists of everything that you'll find gluten in, what ingredients to avoid, a calendar that you can print out, a schedule that you can stick to. Over 20 recipes are in there for you. An eating out cheat sheet. So if you find yourself eating out, the likelihood that you prepare every single meal for 30 days is pretty slim. So there's an eating out cheat sheet. So you know exactly what to order, exactly what to get, so you stick to your plan. Excuse me. I go through a whole entire section on how to deal with cravings because I know that's a primary concern and even fear of a lot of people going into a program like this. I talked about the recipes, and then just over the course of the 30 days, I really I documented, I was journaling a lot, came up with some miscellaneous tricks and secret weapons that really helped me get through. So again, the challenge starts on March 5th. But you can get access to this as soon as, whenever it is right now that you're watching this workshop. So there's also a special bonus for the first 30 people to purchase. You will get access to a free workout video that I've put together. And I know there's a DVD in that product image. You will not get a DVD in the mail. You'll get access to a video that you could download to your computer, which you'll be able to pull up on your TV if you're tech savvy like that. But it's a 45-minute workout based on my Aspire class that I originated here in New York City. It's a metabolism boosting session designed to tighten and tone your muscles in all the right places. You'll be jumping, pulling, twisting, reaching, and pushing your body to achieve long, lean, and sexy muscles. So the first 30 people to purchase are going to get access to that. I'm releasing this around 5 o'clock on Tuesday, February 21st. So if you're watching this right now, and you want the challenge and you want this special bonus, I would go ahead and click on that below and get your access immediately because I know these 30 spots are going to go quickly. People have been, there was even someone this morning like, oh my God, did you release this yet on the Facebook page? Because they've been looking out for it. I know you guys are getting really excited about this. So what you want to do right now, scroll down into the text on this page below the video and select the option that suits you best. Remember, you can just participate in the challenge if you're a do-it-yourselfer. You can opt for a little more attention, check-ins from me. And you can also get the extra attention and customized workouts for the month to maximize your results. So that's it for the information here. Any questions you might have, head over to facebook.com/LizDiAlto. Go ahead and post them on the Facebook page. That's the best way to reach me. And I look forward to kicking off the challenge officially with you on March 5th.